7 international organizations quietly shape what you can buy, sell, and how markets function. First, the World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization writes the legal framework for cross-border commerce and operates the dispute settlement system. Its rules on tariffs, subsidies, and non-discrimination create predictable conditions for exporters and importers. When a government erects hidden barriers or suddenly raises duties, affected partners may bring a complaint to the WTO. Successful rulings can reopen markets or force policy changes. For firms, that legal architecture reduces the risk of arbitrary trade shocks and makes long-term contracts feasible. Second, the International Monetary Fund. The IMF is the macroeconomic stabilizer whose surveillance, technical advice, and lending programs influence exchange rates, inflation, and fiscal credibility. Trade depends on macro stability. Volatile currencies and runaway inflation make import prices unpredictable and can trigger capital controls or temporary trade curbs. By helping countries restore stability, the IMF reduces the likelihood of abrupt policy moves that interrupt supply chains and cross-border payments. Third, the World Bank Group. The World Bank finances the physical and administrative backbone of trade: ports, roads, rail links, and digital customs systems. Investments in infrastructure shorten transit times and lower shipping and clearance costs. Likewise, World Bank support for customs modernization or trade facilitation reforms reduces paperwork and delays. For an exporter in a developing country, these projects can be transformational. Lower logistics costs translate directly into improved market access and competitiveness. Fourth, UNCTAD, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. UNCTAD focuses on how trade interacts with development. It produces data, policy analysis, and practical recommendations on value chains, trade finance, and investment. Governments and development agencies use UNCTAD's research to design industrial policies, close gaps in trade finance, and build capacities that allow producers to move up the value chain. Its work matters when small exporters lack access to letters of credit or affordable insurance, constraints that block real transactions. Fifth, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. The OECD is a forum for advanced economies that produces comparative data, policy guidelines, and peer reviews. It influences tax cooperation, regulatory standards, and digital policies. While not a treaty-making body, the OECD's conventions and recommendations help harmonize approaches across key markets. For multinational companies, OECD guidance reduces regulatory fragmentation, aligning transfer pricing rules, environmental reporting standards, and digital taxation frameworks, so compliance is less costly and more predictable. Sixth, the World Customs Organization. The WCO provides the technical framework that governs how goods move through borders. It maintains the harmonized system of tariff classification, issues guidance on risk-based inspections, and promotes single-window customs platforms. Correct classification determines the duty applied. Procedural best practices determine how fast goods clear. When customs administrations adopt WCO standards and mutual recognition of trusted traders, inspections fall, paperwork shrinks, and shipments move faster. Operational customs reform often yields immediate savings for traders. Seventh, high-level political forums such as the G20. The G20 does not legislate, but it convenes leaders to coordinate responses when shocks occur. During financial crises, pandemics, or major supply chain disruptions, G20 commitments can unlock emergency financing, harmonize regulatory relief, or prioritize the movement of essential goods. That political alignment can translate into very rapid operational changes: reopening corridors, authorizing expedited customs procedures, or mobilizing multilateral resources. Taken together, these 7 bodies create a layered architecture. The WTO supplies rules and dispute settlement. The IMF anchors macroeconomic stability. The World Bank provides infrastructure and technical reform support. UNCTAD supplies development-focused analysis and trade finance insights. The OECD harmonizes standards among wealthy markets. The WCO drives customs practice, and the G20 mobilizes political will in crises. If this breakdown helped you, subscribe for more concise, evidence-based explainers on the institutions that shape our world. Tell me in the comments which organization you want a country or product specific deep dive on next. I'll map the same institutions to a concrete example. That's your daily bit of clarity. Think Bite out.